haven't done an intro yet.
I haven't. Welcome to DreamWorksPective. Oh, I messed up. Oh, no. All right, well, nice talking about Monsters, Inc. with you guys.
All right.
I don't know. What do I say?
You say something like, hello, everyone, welcome to...
Hello, everyone. Welcome to...
Welcome to Pixarspective.
No, the other thing.
No, the other thing. No, what
you said before? No. Never mind.
Keep this in. Don't take this out.
The world's longest podcast intro.
So today we're going to talk about Monsters Incorporated.
In our Pixarspective.
Yes, welcome to our Pixarspective. No, I have to keep this all in.
Right. So, Monsters, Inc.
Yes, Monsters, Inc. So, normally, Wash and Random go through they say their bit, and then I go last. But seeing as how we're talking about our history with the movies, and this is Monsters, Inc., I'm going to bite the bullet on this one, and we are going to have Wash go last. Random and I are going to go first.
Okay.
And I guess since I'm not going last, I might as well just start it off. Monsters, Inc. was the movie, I was going to say the Pixar movie, but really just the movie I watched the most when I was a kid, with the exception of Toy Story. I watched this movie so many times. It's not really even that I watched it that much, it's just I remember knowing about it so much. I only watched it a handful of times, but I loved the movie. I loved Mike. I just always remember as a kid, you know, being random, whatever, saying Mike Wazowski, and I thought it was
Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski. So even though I didn't watch the movie immensely as a kid, I might as well have. And through adulthood, or teenage years to adulthood, and now, I remember thinking that the movie was... I liked it a lot, and then the more time that went by, and the more other Pixar movies that I saw, the more I just remember thinking the movie was fine. And then I saw someone say, the movie's not original, and I was an impressionable mind, and I remember saying, Monsters, Inc. is overrated. And then I just kind of went back to liking it. Random, what about you?
This movie, as a kid, really won me over, and I just liked... I don't know, I just remember as a kid, I liked the designs of the monsters, I liked the jokes, I liked the characters a lot. I thought Sulley's design was so cool and fluffy, and I liked the designs of all the monsters and how it was taking a normal concept with monsters that are in my closet, and they have a life. They do things. They have jobs. They scare us for a reason. I mean, I didn't think those things as a kid because I was pretty young, but I just remember really watching the film a lot. I agree. It was probably it was up there with the most watched movies of my Pixar childhood. There was Toy Story 2, Toy Story, and then Monsters, Inc. probably were the ones I really watched a lot as a kid.
Not A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life too. Forgot about A Bug's Life. We kind of brushed that under.
Forgot about A Bug's Life. I wonder how.
Yeah. I'm very tired. I only got 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here because I was...
You were editing.
Oh yes, this is actually the first episode that we're recording after I finished editing everything. So now we know what the show is like.
Thank you. Thank you for editing.
Yes, thank you for editing.
Without you, we would have stopped this like we always have. So
yeah.
So big round of applause. You earned it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give credit to both of you because having friends to wait for this podcast is a huge motivation.
We do our best with that. Speaking of, if you want to...
You're welcome, punk.
Yes. Speaking of our Pixarspective, if you want to watch a previous Pixarspective, especially of our one of Toy Story or any ones that have come out by the time you're watching this, please feel free to check our YouTube below in order to see what new videos are out. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter.
We have a Twitter?
The YouTube below. It is on YouTube below.
I don't.
I'm on MySpace. Wash, you watched Monsters, Inc. too. What's your history with it?
So this has 2 major memories for me growing up. First off, it is my earliest memory of watching a Pixar film in the theaters. Considering that it was we're on the 4th movie in, like I said, Toy Story and Toy Story 2 are my earliest DVD memories, and I would just consume them all the time. And so I just kind of always knew Pixar. And then when Monsters Inc. was getting hyped up, and I remember seeing it on the cover of like Disney Adventure magazine for all you 90s kids out there.
Oh God, Disney Adventure.
What's a magazine?
Regardless.
Yes, moving on.
Regardless, I think partly because it was like one of my earliest movie theater memories. I remember it was feeling kind of scary in certain parts, especially around the third act, where things were going for a real dark turn. And then some months came by. My parents took me to Costco to go shopping, and I spotted a DVD of Monsters Incorporated. And I was probably like, hey, I remember that. I want to watch that. I want to pick it up, and I want to watch this movie. Oh, it has a second DVD in it with bonus features. Whatever are those?
What are bonus features?
This is how it all began.
This is how it all began.
Everything changed when the Monsters Inc. Nation attacked.
Like you two were saying, like it's partly like watching it a lot and just loving it a lot. For me, it was both. And more to the point, that second DVD kind of changed my life because the bonus features are so in depth. They were so in depth for my little kid brain because I was just used to like there's a Pixar short on the DVD. I can watch that, but I wasn't expecting that for a bunch of like bored sounding people to talk about like lighting and simulation and trying to get the texture of tentacles correctly and animating all those. It just kind of blew my mind. Everything that went into it, and it was really the turn of when I wanted to go into animation and go into movies and such. I abandoned the first dream, and then I abandoned the second dream. But the point remains that this was extremely influential on me. It really gave me the craving for film, for animation especially. There's one special feature in there that I didn't really understand at the time. It was called Inside Jokes. And it was through there that I started to realize they put a lot of just tiny details that only make sense to themselves. Like putting in their favorite local cafe, Hidden City, or having the giraffe from Boo's Room following Mike and Sulley to work in a super wide shot. It doesn't enhance the movie on any like surface detail, but it's just a lot of fun for them to do. It blew my mind. And then considering how much I've already been talking about the DVDs, I don't think 75 minutes is gonna cut it.
Well, too bad. You're gonna have to find a way to make 75 minutes cut it.
With us.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise, surprise, you got two other people on the podcast.
Oh, no.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go. So, you, alright, Wash? Have fun.
Oh, yeah. Yes, a monologue Pixarspective featuring the Wash. We do have a movie to talk about.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Wash could do a very good summary, but Wash would also get into a lot of the needlessly fine details. So I'm gonna say Random is gonna do the
plot
story summary for
I-
Monsters Incorporated.
Basically, Monsters Inc. takes place in a world of monsters where they live basically in Monstropolis, and they work, they have jobs, they have lives, they date, they have their own lives besides just scaring you in your closet. And not only that, they rely on scaring kids to create energy. Movie stars Sulley and Mike. Sulley played by John Goodman, Mike played by Billy Crystal, and how they're trying to like rise to be the top scarers of the industry. However, things go awry when Sulley, trying to help Mike with his paperwork, he just finds a random door, and inside that door is the kid. A kid. Oh my god. Kids, by the way, are also very toxic, and I have never been released into the monster world, and scaring kids is actually a very dangerous business. But Sulley brings this kid into the monster world things go crazy in a sushi restaurant, and all of a sudden, it's up to Mike and Sulley to not only bring Boo back to her door, who Boo is the name of the kid, and but also figure out what shady business is going on behind the scenes of Monsters Incorporated, and put a stop to them once and for all.
I was gonna say good summary, but I've got one that's even shorter, and it's Mike Wazowski.
Perfect.
That's a great summary of the film. Yeah,
Mike Wazowski. Yep, that sums it up.
Absolutely, because Mike Wazowski is the center of it all.
What did we think of the general plot of Monsters Incorporated? We're scared because they care.
I really thought it was well paced. Honestly, there wasn't a time where I was bored.
Yeah, I was surprised coming back to it now how into it I got.
I was surprised not only how much it's like easily sucked me in. I was surprised. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to it as much. I was surprised in just how involved the plot is. Like this is a high stakes Pixar film.
It really is. Like more high stakes than Finding Nemo, which we'll get to next week or the week or next time. But either way,
Next time.
But yeah, it's a very high stakes. Like a single touch of a child can kill you.
I tried to run from it, but it picked me up with its mind powers and shook me like a doll. It's true! I saw the whole thing!
Oh my god. Yeah, just the whole way. Even though I like all the little things with the monster world as well. Wash will probably go into further detail about this, but like all the things like just like how the monsters work, like Wash said, how it's like they're basically like office worker athletes in a way. How like they eat at places called Harryhausen, haha.
Yes, I love that reference.
How they like live in apartments and how they have neighbors of all different shapes and sizes. And can I just say I love the designs of all the monsters, whether they are main characters or just background characters.
They're very creative. That's what I like about it.
They're very creative.
Mike and Sulley aren't the most creative as far as the designs go, but a lot of the other monsters are really good. Spoilers for a character that I don't like. I wasn't that crazy about Randall, but whenever they used his camouflage, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I especially like Boo's fight scene where you see Randall's camouflage taken to the extreme, and when he starts hitting them, it just starts turning into all these random different patterns.
That was really funny, but I think my favorite instance of it was when Mike was running away from Randall towards the middle of the movie, and he hides behind a wall, and you see a painting of Water News. But then two of the eyes blink, and it turns out those are Randall's eyes. That was
weird.
so cool. That was super cool.
They really had fun with this. And can I just say, I know we're jumping from like plot to character almost in a very seamless transition, but the voice cast is done so well. Like everyone's voiced really perfectly. Steve Buscemi is great as Randall, even though we used to think Randall was kind of boring as a character-wise. Like he's just a generic villain.
He does the best with the role. Steve Buscemi does the best with this role. And then you also have John Goodman, who is just lovable bear. And of course, Billy Crystal. Funny story about Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal was supposed to be cast as Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. He rejected that role. He horribly regretted rejecting that role. And so this is his comeback.
He's like, I could be in this one, and I'll be in a sequel about college.
Oh no.
We'll get to that one.
We'll get to that
one.
For the most part, the acting on the main characters was pretty good, but I gotta disagree with the voice acting as a whole being good. I thought a lot of the voice acting on the extras was really hokey.
Really? Maybe I like hokey.
I have a note here. If I could find it, I have a lot of notes.
I maybe because I like hokey acting at points, like, or maybe just because this film got me at points.
That said, a lot of the extras don't feel right, like they exist for a specific joke and that's it. Some of the dialogue for characters also feels hokey and unnatural, very amateur theater-esque.
Quiet, you're making him lose his focus.
I love those two. Don't even trash talk those two. They're not extras. They're not important either. They're on their own physical plane.
Out characters. Like
they're on their own physical plane.
They really just need their own movies. Like you can just have a whole franchise out of the line.
I said
If you talk to me like that again, we're through. Oh, what'd you say? You know my mom. She sent me to my room.
I was actually kind of disappointed that they weren't in the movie more.
Yeah.
Well, they did show up at the very end.
I bet we get the rest of the day off. You idiot! They're gonna shut down the factory.
They really needed to. I don't want to say they needed to be in the movie more, but at the same time, I wanted them in the movie more.
They showed up a lot more in the bloopers. Unfortunately, the copy that I sent you guys did not have the bloopers at the ending.
No, it did not.
Unfortunate.
It did not, but I literally went into YouTube and watched them immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Because it felt incomplete if I didn't.
We could talk about the end credits later on, but
yes.
as for characters, yeah, I love them all. What did we think of Mike's girlfriend, Celia?
I forgot about her, but I like her. She's fine. She does
I like
not
the snakes.
I like
Snakes in her hair are cool.
The Medusa design is very nice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But I don't know. I thought the chemistry with Mike was fine.
Yeah, it did okay.
I like the snakes more than I like her.
Yeah, that's fair. Like a lot of the jokes around her were involving those snakes.
I'm thinking about getting it cut. No, I like it this way.
That specific sound that the snakes make when they breathe that sigh of relief, I have never forgotten since I first saw the movie. just wanted to drop that. But my big problem with her, she doesn't really do anything. She's in the beginning of the movie. She goes to eat sushi with Mike. She gets mad at him later. And then she just pops up at the end of the movie and is still mad at him. And then Mike explains that, oh, Randall is after us. And then she sees Randall and she just forgives him. And that's her arc. That's her contribution to the movie.
She forgives us and provides a distraction.
It was so sudden. It came out of nowhere. She was mad at him for pretty much the entire middle and half of the ending act, pretty much.
Well, to be fair, she didn't know what was going on.
Just at the snap of a finger. She's not like Mike and Sulley who realize, wait a minute, Boo isn't toxic at all whatsoever.
But the thing is, she just wanted like Mike to be honest, and she didn't believe him at first. But like now that she knows that if the part about a human kid being with my boyfriend is true, I'll believe anything if I were a monster. So that's how I would see it.
It's because there's an entire rest of the movie that she's just not in, and then she pops up at the end so that she can provide a distraction for Randall, so that she could provide a contribution to the film. I thought it was just too sudden. So what about a lot of the other side characters? What about...
Should I mention him? Should I mention him?
Randall?
No, we kind of touched about Ron Randall.
Well,
I'm talking about the other one.
Well, I mean... you said you literally just said we used to think Randall was bland. That's all we did. Because I still think he's bland. I still don't think Randall's a good character.
I used to defend Randall, but I just kind of turned around and just accepted that it's not a strong villain. It's almost a red herring, but he's still the villain.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
If anything, he's not a twist villain because you could tell he's the bad guy from the very beginning.
Great scene with Randall though is when they're in the bathroom and he's pounding. He turns invisible and he starts pounding all the bathroom doors. That was crazy.
That's so suspenseful.
That was great.
We need more of that, Randall.
I was on just this ruthless guy who's not conniving anything because he's evil. He hurts somebody and he is going to scare them into submission. And then just the beautiful irony when he gets to the door that's right and he does pound it open, but he's so angry at Fungus he doesn't see them standing right there.
I didn't really like him as much when he was talking, but when he was actually doing actions and using his powers, he was more interesting.
Yeah, like I said, his camouflage was super cool.
Camouflage super cool. When he was like actually like scary and quiet, or like actually doing actions.
When he was strangling Sulley and you could see the life coming out of Sully's eyes.
Holy crap, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that was whoa.
He's terrifying when you can't see him, and when he disappears, you're like, oh my god, where is he?
I know.
Where is he?
Yeah.
And then he talks, and you just think, oh, hey nerd.
All right, I'm releasing the floodgates. Water news. Fuck it. I like him as a twist villain. I'm sorry. I do.
I actually going to like Water News as a twist villain the second time around. especially because Waternoose, unlike the Prospector, that twist villain, Waternoose's twist actually comes at the very midpoint of the film.
Yeah.
So you get a lot more build up, and then once he makes that twist, you start to see that other side of him, this other side that's partly disappointed in this turn that he's put himself into, and partly just feeling like this is what I have to do for the company. And I feel like Randall was like manipulating Waternoose into agreeing to this idea of literally sucking the energy out of children for the good of the company.
Which is terrifying in itself.
Oh,
if you really think about it.
It is so ominous. And then I'm glad we got to see his power in a comedic scene at least, because when it was nearly happening to Boo, it was genuinely like unsettling, especially when Waternoose is just kind of was looking just very matter-of-factly, will this work or not whether is this ethical.
Because he was at that point where he's like, we're at a scream shortage. We're doing this for the good of the company and good of Monstropolis, which is terrifying motivational.
Oh yeah,
like thing, but also a good one too. Like you see where Waternoose is coming from. I mean, except for when he says the line,
"I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, and I'll silence anyone who gets in my way."
I mean, you can still see where he's coming from. It's just that's when he crosses the line to just, you went too far. I mean, he went too far when he kidnapped Boo and all that, but point of no redemption is I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
Especially in the context of that scene, he was saying it in the heat of the moment. He was saying it in just pure anger as a refutation against Sulley.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my counter argument to all of what you guys just said does not exist, because I thought he was a good twist villain too.
Okay, good.
Yay!
I'm glad.
So, okay, I absolutely agree with everything you guys had to say about him, but what I think really set him apart, God, especially from the Prospector, but from a lot of other twist villains, is that, which, this is even more impressive that he was revealed at the halfway point, and this still applies, but you could determine that he could be a twist villain just based on what he says in the beginning of the movie. It's actually, it's properly foreshadowed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, James, I'll do anything to keep this company from going out under.
You can see how frustrated he is. You can see how desperate he is to want to keep the company afloat. So that when he does actually turn out to be a twist villain, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I remember seeing criticisms against this movie saying that Waternoose was so obvious of a twist villain, possibly because of all that foreshadowing. But I think it's still worse, especially because like I still enjoyed Waternoose before and after the twist.
It doesn't feel like he was an entirely different character.
Yeah, in fact, with the beginning, him and Sulley are really close. He almost
there's kind of like a mentor-student friendship between them.
Especially after Waternoose banishes Mike and Sulley, he says like, because of you, I had to banish my top scout. Like he's still very close to Sulley, but the money followed first. Like his company followed first.
Yeah. One of the notes I have written is that I had kind of hoped that the rest of the movie had kept that student mentor thing that they had in the beginning, but it did. Maybe not so much with Sulley, just because Sulley wanted to do what was right. But Waternoose definitely still saw Sulley as someone important to him. And like you said, it did hurt him to have to let him go.
The student mentor was still happening even well into the twist, even during that angry speech at the very end, because it's kind of like your mentor corrupted. This is what I've been teaching you all along. This is the important part right here. We've been going into all these side characters. We haven't really talked much about Mike and Sulley themselves.
They have great chemistry together.
Yeah, they really do.
It's one of the best since Woody and Buzz, honestly. Like
I gotta... Maybe it's just because they're together for longer. I didn't really feel any kind of chemistry in Toy Story 1 until the end. And in Toy Story 2, they were barely around each other. Yeah. But I like them more than Woody and Buzz. Just as a duo, I like them a lot more, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They do get a chance. They're friends from the beginning.
Sully's like semi-seriousness just sort of focus against Mike's like hyperactive comedy is such a great blend, and they work off each other so well. Like I'm thinking about this one scene where it's like,
using mainly spoons, we dig a tunnel under the city and release it into the wild.
Spoons.
That's it. I'm out of ideas. We're closed.
And that worked because of them both. Because of Mike's personality against Sulley's personality.
It works so well. They're just wasn't like Mike's decision to be in the movie in general like an executive decision too. Like they were like, give Sulley a sidekick.
Yes, this was actually an executive decision. Yes.
That was kind of a good idea.
Yeah, this is one of the rare cases where an executive decision worked in favor of the movie. Partly of that is Billy Crystal himself. Like we said, the whole cast is great. Billy Crystal just knocked it out of the park.
I was just going to say, honestly, Billy Crystal make this role, because I can speak from experience. If anyone else tries to voice Mike Wazowski, it's just not the same. I'm looking at you, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I will go even as far as to say Billy Crystal may have single-handedly saved the Randy Newman song at the end. Because
we will get to that when we get to that.
Yes, but he just did such a great job with that. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
I love characters like him that no matter how grave the situation, he's always number one. The moment I have written down as just the quintessential Mike Wazowski moment is when they kidnap Mike and they have him plugged to the machine and Sulley unplugs it. Randall goes to investigate and Fungus is investigating in the machine. And Mike says, hey, you like cars, right? If you let me go, I'll let you ride in my car. He's about to get the energy sucked out of him, and still all he can think about is, I don't want anyone driving my car, but I'll take you for a ride in it if you let me go. It is the quintessential Mike moment. I love characters like this that are so concerned for themselves. And in Mike's case, also his very close friend Sulley, that even in a life or death situation, he's still just, if I can get out of this on top, I'm okay. Otherwise, whatever.
If I can get out of this on top, that's a great way of summing up Mike Wazowski.
Yeah.
I'm going through my notes, and I'm probably gonna point out my favorite one being the while Randall is invisibly like fighting Sulley and Mike is trying to explain himself and Sulley yells out, I'm being attacked, and Mike's just like, I'm not attacking you, I'm just your friend.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
That whole scene is great.
That specific line is 100 times better in today's day and age. I'm being attacked. I'm not attacking you.
And he's literally being attacked.
Yes, but Mike so believes that Sulley is accusing him of attacking him. He's so genuine when he says, I'm not attacking you.
Oh, look. Now you're going to cry, I'm going to cry, and we'll never make it through this.
Look, I'm just pouring my heart out. The least you could do is pay attention. Hey, look, that's Randall. Oh.
I love the way he says it. He's like, oh. Almost doesn't even sound like Mike. It's so funny.
Oh, yeah. Billy Crystal is a master comedian, and he really has fun with this role. Like, in this. Like, I'm glad he wasn't Buzz Lightyear, because he's this.
Exactly.
Because no one else, I can't picture anyone else playing him.
I guess if I had to think of a critique for Mike, it's not really even a critique for Mike. More so just the occasional, when the writing in the movie would kind of fall flat. When they first kidnap Mike and Randall brings down the machine, Mike's going, whoa, no, what is that? Oh, no, stop that right there. Oh, no, oh my gosh, oh, no, what is that? And it's just like noise, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not really a problem with Mike, though. It's just sometimes the writing kind of fell.
I think that was specifically directing. I have a feeling that was him. That was him improvising it, and the director just like let him have that instead of it being more controlled.
Yeah. It was like, Billy Crystal, just go nuts. Go do whatever you want.
My one critique, this is not even a critique. This is more of a what could have been. Mike's original design, his original character design was going to be he would have 2 legs and no arms. And you can see him, like, there's this one, like, test animation that they tried out where you can see, like, he puts on, like, a giant cowboy hat and he uses one of his feet to grab the hat and put it on his head. I always just think about, like, how creative they could have really gotten with that sort of character design. But, that's not a critique. That's just
it's just one of those
fantasizing about what else this movie could have been like. Like, Sulley could have had glasses. He originally did have glasses. And then they were like, we can't really read his eyes very well. So they just took it off.
So what do we think of Sulley on that note?
I really like. He seems to be more the protagonist out of the two, with Mike being the comedic sidekick. And you see him like develop, especially his relationship with like Boo and like the father-daughter relationship.
That's definitely my favorite thing about Sulley in this movie was how he grew towards Boo. Just affectionate and realized, wait a minute, this kid's not toxic. Let's not just throw her to the wild. She's just, innocent.
And Sulley warming up to the kid, part of that is just because of Sully's own personality. Him trying to lull Boo to sleep with a game of charades. Because he put so much into that, he just kind of realized that this is just any other person, that any other kid I would have met on the street. It's just a human. And I understand the human.
It's funny because he's like, originally he's scared of her too, but like it's just how they develop over time. Like originally Sulley is like terrified of Boo and like won't even let her touch him. And by the end they're just like hugging and just...
Well, by the middle part they're hugging and all, and then towards the end, right? Oh, actually not towards the end. This was right in the middle, right before they confess to Water News. Sulley frightens Boo horribly. And it's such a heart-wrenching scene.
Whoever voiced Boo did a really good job, honestly.
I was just gonna say, there's no drawback, like the Buzz scene where he learns he can't fly in Toy Story 1, where there's the stupid Randy Newman song playing. There's no drawback here. The music's effective. It's silent.
Works.
Really, the only noises you hear are Boo crying, and
it works.
Occasionally, Sulley will go, "I'm not like that," but then he sees, I am like that.
Yeah, and he just kind of realizes that this whole being a monster thing, this whole scaring children thing, it can't just be separate from liking Boo, because the system of scaring children for energy is horrible. And that was just kind of when he started to realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think Sulley was terrific, but he goes through a lot, and as the protagonist, he should go through a lot, and he changes for the better, and it's legitimately interesting.
Yeah.
You know what this movie had? I brought up before that during that scene, there wasn't that much dialogue. It was really just, Boo crying and stuff. But this movie, for both comedic and non-comedic moments, there were a lot more quiet scenes than I remember.
Yeah.
Where it was really just the music playing and nothing else. They kind of just let the music and the visuals set the tone, and they didn't really rely on the dialogue too much. It was a lot more than I remember, and I really liked, especially, for something more comedic, I thought it was really funny, but for the more dramatic scenes, it worked too.
Good job, Randy Newman. When you're not singing, you produce good music.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It is Randy Newman.
It is Randy Newman.
It is Randy Newman, and it's in fact his last film until we get to Cars. This is his last Pixar film. After this, they started relying more on Michael Giacchino and Thomas Newman. Funny enough, Thomas Newman is actually Randy Newman's cousin, so they didn't even search that far. They're just like, hey, what did your cousin do? We'll just go with that guy.
Hey, cousin, you wanna sing song for the Pixar guys?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay, here, take this song I was gonna do.
Yeah, no.
You sound like one of the extras in this movie. Like one of the random monsters that just has 2 quotes. That's exactly what you sound like.
Keep the doors coming, Charlie. I'm on a roll today.
George and I are like brothers. 2319! We have a 2319!
Okay. Georgie is a very messed up individual. He, on the 3rd, 2319, he grabs the guy, stuffs a sock in his mouth, throws him in the door, and closes it. And we do not see that monster for the rest of the movie, which means he threw this guy into the human world, and he never got back.
No, that is incorrect. That guy shows up again.
Oh, does he?
I made a note of this. That guy shows up again at the very end after Water News gets taken away by CDA. When they go out, right to the left of those 2 janitors, you see that guy again. That guy comes back.
Oh, that's good, because I have written here that he doesn't come back, so that's good.
I want to make that clarification, because once I noticed that, I wrote that down in my notes, because I have a feeling that we're going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Because it was so messed up.
So it looks like the Abominable Snowman's just alone. Speaking of, great job, John Ratzenberger.
Abominable! Can you believe that? Why can't they call me the adorable snowman or the agreeable snowman, for crying out loud?
I want to bring up something that I hadn't noticed before with this scene, so I'm gonna have to act this. There's this one bit where she's saying, like, Banner's with your best friend, and Mike says, he's not my friend. And the Abominable Snowman starts getting a little uncomfortable and says, oh, I just assumed you were buddies because you were out in the snow all hugging and everything. And was that like a gay panic joke?
No.
He's uncomfortable because he's treating them like they're friends, and then as it turns out, they're not friends, and that just kind of changed his entire outline.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I saw it, at least. I didn't really get any of those vibes from it.
Yeah, I was really hoping that wasn't the case, because that would have been bad. But
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, yeah. I'm willing to give them the benefit of a doubt.
If we're gonna stick on the Abominable Snowman, I did think John Ratzenberger did a great job.
It's a nice little cameo too.
He's either really, really happy or he's really, really scared at all times, and it's funny.
Snow cone.
Rule number 1 out there: always, no, never go out in the food.
Yeah, that was such a weird joke. Like, how do you mess that up? But it's still so funny because it's so strange.
That was definitely like a writer's room joke. Just
absolutely, yes.
Just them like throwing all these different ideas around, and it just kind of landed on that. It's like, yep, perfect. We're keeping that in.
And it's funny, they actually referenced the banishment like early on in the film too. Just like a throwaway joke.
Yeah,
almost.
What I really liked about the scene you're talking about when Mike is listing off monsters that got banished, all those monsters are legends in the human world.
Yeah. Loch Ness, Bigfoot, the Abominable Snowman. They all have one thing in common, pal. Banishment. We could be next.
My note on that is, does that mean that the Loch Ness monster was once a monster in the closet? Because that's a huge friggin' monster.
Well, they fit him in huge freaking closets.
See that, Mikey? Ted's walking to work.
Big deal. Takes 5 steps and he's there.
So, briefly earlier, one of us had mentioned the music, and then we went to the Abominable Snowman, but I'm going to backtrack. The music was good. Super good.
It was.
Super good. I loved it.
Very good.
I loved it.
I'm going to go as far as to say this is Randy Newman's best. Like,
yes.
They had the jazz concept of doing this sort of jazz style, and they went all out from the very beginning.
That opening.
I can't believe this movie is almost 20 years old, and that opening is still as perfect as it is.
It is. It's even used in memes now.
So much fun. It introduces the entire tone of it. It introduces the basic concept of monsters in the closet. And it's just a ball to watch and a ball to listen to. And I want to get the soundtrack right after we finish recording this, because I got to listen to this more and more. It's just so much fun.
And even like you said, there's moments where the sad scenes hit hard. There's moments where like the music actually fits the comedy. Like that whole scene with the garbage disposing, that was made better by the music.
Yes, it was made a lot better by the music.
And I know like the booze theme was a musical motif that carried out a lot.
That just takes to my heartstrings every time I look at it. That was like the prototype of the Ellie theme from Up. It's
oh god. All
you hear is those dun 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 dun, and then you're just wailing. Especially the ending when Sulley has to say goodbye to Boo.
And then you hear it again. It's really bad.
So effective.
And it's so effective.
It was sad.
Like, it starts playing out, and at first, it's all it is Boo just wanting to show Sulley the favorite toys, and then he eventually has to tell Boo this is goodbye, and then he looks out one more time. He closes the door. Boo goes to the door to give him a scare, and she just sees her same old closet.
And then the music just stops and cuts to the cutting
of
the door.
To the shredding, and it's
whoever did the sound design was genius.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Really,
and then
really good.
The music comes back, that same theme, when they've put the door together.
Yes, because Sulley was still hiding that one shard from the door as a keepsake.
That was such a good character develop moment for Mike. That really his arc of the movie was so perfectly resolved.
Yes.
with him surprising Sulley. He could have told Sulley at any time, hey, let's put the door back together. But he wanted to surprise him. Sorry it took so long. There was a lot of wood. And you see all the splinters on his hand. Like, it's funny. It's really funny. But also, it's just...
really heartwarming.
Yeah, that Mike went that far for something that, you know, a while ago in the movie's time, he didn't care at all about. But he developed, and now he's just wants to see Sulley happy.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great. I really like Mike. I like Mike a lot.
Everything from writing to the acting to the character design. I disagree with Sulley having bland character design because he is very much bear-like, and that's part of the charm of him. Is that much like a bear, they're very cute when they're calm, but they will rip your face off.
Yes.
And Sulley has that sort of look at him, and he has the genuine strength, as we see multiple times in the film, when he's just ripping doors off and
breaking the scream extractor.
Oh yeah, and the fact that this giant bear, his heart warms for this adorable child, and Boo. We barely talked as much about Boo. I really enjoyed Boo. I was worried that the character was gonna be kind of grating because really all it is in terms of the casting was one of the producer's daughters, and all Pete Docter had to do was take their boom mic and follow her around while playing with the puppets and chasing her around, and just and then one of the writers just scoured through all those hours and hours of footage, just trying to get all those little bits where she says kitty with excitement, and then she says kitty with fear, and she says kitty with longing. They did such a great job with that. There were certain points where you can very easily tell that they were starting to recycle some of the same clips.
Yeah.
But it works so well.
I remember pretty much every viewing of this movie I had until this point. I didn't like Boo all that much, but I take it all back.
Yeah.
Boo was great.
I'm starting to love this film a lot.
I remember you said this was your favorite, and then you stopped saying that for a while.
Yeah, you backpedaled super hard on that. It wasn't even in your top 5.
Yeah.
How about now?
Well, no, we're not there yet. We still actually got a lot of time.
Oh, I know what to talk about.
Ooh, I had something, but you have confidence. Shoot.
What do you think of the idea of the twist of laughing being 10 times more powerful than scream? And how do you think that works, if it does?
I'm going to give this to Kirby to give your opinion on this.
I definitely think it's a little hokey. A part of me doesn't like it. I think it's really weird and silly and doesn't actually make a lot of sense. And definitely the first thing that comes to mind before anything else is, really, a kid has never laughed before? A monster has never done something so pathetically stupid that a kid hasn't just laughed and they didn't notice, oh, look at all this, what the hell? But at the same time, you see it happen in the movie multiple times. A kid screaming for 10 seconds is enough to almost turn out the lights. A kid laughing once is enough to just overpower it so much the whole apartment shuts down.
Not that the whole apartment, but like most of the block.
Yeah, most of the block. So it is properly shown. That's not the only example of it. So it is properly shown.
It's shown somewhere else, like
when the kid bites Mike,
and during the door scene.
God, I love that door sequence so much.
That's a great scene. They have a lot of fun gags with that. They go to a lot of great places. Why couldn't we get banished here?
I'm just a huge fan of the the world building potential of the door, and just all the different creative ways they go with that, and just making all these children's closets turn into portals to Hawaii.
The funniest line in the entire movie. This isn't even funny. It just killed me for some reason. They go in a door, but they go in while the door is upside down. So Mike falls in, and then Sulley falls on top of him. He goes, Mike? And then he sees he's underneath them. Sulley goes, oh, sorry, Mike. And Mike goes, day. And that's it. That had me in stitches.
I don't know. It really shouldn't be that funny, but
it's so weird. He just goes, day. I loved it. I was going into it expecting how many kids you got in there to be the funniest line, but I could not stop. I had to rewatch it like 3 times just to hear him go, day.
It It was such a weird take that it just goes right into good.
I
does.
know, it's incredible. My take on the whole thing, I called it door heaven. I know the idea is that it's so big and there are so many doors, but all I could think of was if it stopped working, who would fix it? You see how far off the ground it is? Like, who would go up there to fix it? Would they get a monster with wings, I guess?
Probably. I mean, that's not there's no... Are there monsters with wings? There's no flying monsters in this one.
Oh, are there? I didn't notice that. That's a good point, though.
They saved that for Monsters University. I keep bringing that up, but I don't really like that one that much. For now.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows? New best Pixar movie when we get to it. On the topic of nitpicks...
That goes to Good Dinosaur.
Oh God, please. On the topic of nitpicks, a big one that I had early on in the movie. I thought early on the movie was actually really good at setting the whole thing up, and this isn't really a complaint about that. But they're going through town, and there's a lot of things that are designed for people, even though there aren't people in the world. There are monsters. Like there's a sewer hole, or not a sewer hole, but it's pretty much we'll call it a sewer hole. I can't remember.
It's a grating.
Yeah, and a slime monster walks over it, and he falls inside because the joke is that, if a slime monster walked over this thing, he'd fall inside. But it doesn't really make sense because they're monsters. And I was thinking about it, and I genuinely, unironically said this, and I caught myself, and it was a big idiot moment. I said, it's not that big of a deal. People wouldn't say anything like that in Cars. And then I caught it. I was just, wait a minute. Everybody says this about Cars. And that's when it kind of just clicked with me that, this doesn't... Why is this here? Why is there a Gradle or whatever?
Because they wrote it for the joke.
Yeah, because they wrote it for the joke.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want to make it sound like this is actually a major problem I have with the movie because it's such a nitpick. But I didn't, just because, when we get to Cars, I'll elaborate on that farther. But I hear a lot of people say stuff like this about Cars, and they say it as a scathingly bad point about the movie. So I just wanted to bring that up now, so that when we get to Cars, I have something to refer to. That, hey, other good movies do this too,
Look, they've had these sort of problems since the very first movie, okay? Toy Story has all sorts of, hey, wait a minute, sort of, like the very concept of, hey, what is a toy, though?
We said we were going to save this for later. I'm glad that I remember to bring it up, because it would have been a big oops if we didn't. We got to bring up, I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you.
So good between the two. Billy Crystal saves.
I love it. It's so genuine. It's so authentic because Mike and Sulley are singing it. It's not Randy Newman singing it. Mike and Sulley are singing it to each other.
Wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have.
Mike, aka Billy Crystal, is throwing in all these improvised lines.
Yes.
Where did all these people come from?
Where did all these people come
Why'd you have to sing my part?
You keep taking my lines.
I didn't even know. I'm so glad that we watched this without the bloopers, because there's just so many jokes that they shove in. It's just so powerful. It's just so much fun. And that's the name of the game with Monsters Incorporated. It's a blast to watch.
And you could tell Pete Docter had a lot of fun with this.
Oh, yes.
Like, throughout the whole thing. Even with the bloopers. And the bloop and the play, which
put that thing back where it came from. Or so help me. So help me.
My favorite out of that is she's out of our
head.
Hi, Wazowski.
They're rehearsing a play.
I'm glad you were quoting that backwards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They didn't even have to do that little scene at the end, but they were just like, you know what, let's just do it. And it's so great, because they basically just do the whole movie as if it were like a bad community stage play. Like, you have little things like Sulley looking very like uncomfortable trying to, and like not doing moves in the right time. While Mike is just like doing everything pitch perfect, like he's rehearsed it 1,000 times.
All right, Wazowski, tell us where the kid is.
I will never talk. Never.
It's such a fun little thing at the end.
This is by far the most elaborate of the post-credits. It makes a lot of sense that this is where they end off, because you really can't top something as hilarious and Sulley as the Monsters Inc. company play. They just throw in all these jokes about the movie you just watched.
Oh my god, I just realized something.
What's up?
We didn't talk about a very important character. Roz.
I kept thinking like, maybe this is going to be a time to mention Roz. Oh, maybe this is going to be... We have
maybe now.
Roz.
No, but seriously.
That wasn't bad.
Wazowski, you didn't hand in your paperwork last week. She's just a great... Who voiced her? It was a guy. I know that.
It was Bob Peterson, one of the main writers of Monsters Incorporated and several Pixar films. The guy who was originally going to direct A Good Dinosaur, which we will keep mentioning in every single episode up to and including the episode where we talk about it.
Oh no, Random's turning into a monster. The alarm went off.
Oh, I want to say this about Roz. She was great. She had a lot of great comedic timing, and her dry delivery paired well with Billy Crystal. And the fact that she was relevant to the plot as the member of this, number one of the CDA, who were also pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Was just, it made her relevant. More relevant than Celia, I think.
Yeah.
I thought the twist was a little weird, but we're out of time, so whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts.
I really wanted to mention until the last 3 minutes was nothing but me not being able to come in. There's a funny video called Water Noose Double Boost. It's the double boost from Sonic Forces, and it's Water Noose running, and it's really funny. All right, so final thoughts. We are going to start with the Wash on this one. See how it compares to what he thought of the movie as a wee lad. The Wash, you may start.
My video to recommend for this is the Yukino Joe's If I Didn't Have You. I love that video to death. It's so stupid and it's fun. My final thoughts on this. I am very much torn because, especially as we started to talk more about this, my child self of this being like my favorite movie ever is starting to come back.
I had a feeling it would.
It's really, really good.
It's a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
It was a good film.
My main complaints are going to be, the very weak villain. Celia is you can pretty much remove Celia from the film and you have the same sort of movie. Aside from maybe Mike having something to work towards. Beyond that, this is hard. I started this having a pretty solid ranking, and now I'm not so sure.
I figured.
This made me feel more nostalgic than Toy Story did. The sheer sort of world building. This was just so involved as a Pixar film that they just created this monster city, this whole monster world. I just loved how this feels like a lived-in world, how, as one of you said, you can see the tiny doors, you can see the giant doors, you can see how the world has been accommodated for monsters of different sizes and different abilities. It just has so much fun with itself. It's very appropriate that the movie uses the jazz aesthetic because it feels very much like it's just like free flowing, whatever goes, and we're just gonna have a blast along the way. We're gonna have some thrilling moments, we're gonna have some tragic moments, and we're gonna have a lot of menacing stuff, and it's just so free flowing and love it. Rando, please stop me from talking too much about this film.
Okay. Oh my god, this was such a great trip down memory lane, and I really loved how well the film was paced. I love the jokes in the film. I love the characters, especially Mike and Sulley, and I didn't mind Randall too much more. I liked what he did than what he said. I liked Warner's Twitch's villain. There's so many things I liked about this. I was with you with putting it pretty low on the list, but really it deserves to be much higher. I don't know if it conquers Toy Story, but it definitely conquers A Bug's Life. One of my nostalgic and personal favorites.
So that means we're going to go now to KirbyFan.
Yes, the Kirby of fans, the fan of Kirby's.
Uh-oh. I didn't like it. No, wonderful movie. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It really took me by surprise because, again, ever since ignoring the times that I watched it as a kid, pretty much every time I watched it, I thought it was very good, but that's it. But watching it this time, I loved it. I loved the energy it had. I loved the way it looked. I loved the colors in the movie. There's a lot that I really loved about it. I do think it's worth noting that for a long time, and still to an extent, I don't think the movie is as crazy original as a lot of people give it credit for. I have seen this concept before in many mediums.
Oh, sure.
It's not original, but I also see people saying it's a lack of originality or whatever, or something against it. And even though it's not the most unique idea, they go a lot of places with it. They have a lot of fun with it. And at the end of the day, that's what I think is the most important. That a group of people got together and made a movie that they wanted to make a good movie. And they did. They had fun with it. It's funny. It's emotional. It's more than anything, the most important, it's genuine. It is a genuine film. It is fun. It's great. I loved it a lot more than I thought. Definitely above A Bug's Life. I'd flip-flop with Toy Story 2. I'd probably say more so for now, but I'm going to flip-flop with that one for a little while, because Toy Story 2 also caught me way off guard. So I'll have a concrete opinion on that one by the end.
Since you mentioned that, I guess since we're about to wrap up, we might as well go for it. Let's start from the bottom. Is Monsters Incorporated better than A Bug's Life?
Yes! 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 Yes!
Okay,
Yes!
never mind.
Yes!
Never mind.
Yes! Yes!
Yes.
Okay. Now.
Yes.
C.
I did not know. I did not know you were gonna actually specify a person. So when you said it, I just started shouting yes, and then I heard you say rando, and I thought, well, I started. I gotta go through with it.
Okay.
Well, I agree. Yes.
Sorry, Rando. Sorry, Rando.
Yes, it's better than A Bug's Life.
Okay, now we'll step up the ring. Is Monsters Incorporated better than Toy Story 2?
Rando, you go first.
Yes.
Shit.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, I know what Watch's opinion is, but...
Yes. I'm gonna say yes. I think the characters get used more in this one, and it doesn't feel like they took their time more with Monsters Inc. than Toy Story 2, which they did. We don't really. I love the chemistry between Mike and Sulley, and it's just it's just genuine. And Toy Story 2 is great. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I personally like Monsters Inc. a bit more.
Well, I'm gonna give Kirby a little bit more time to say,
I think I'm ready, but we all know what your answer is gonna be, so it's fine. You can go.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously, I still enjoy Toy Story 2 a lot. Monsters Incorporated is a much better film than Toy Story 2. I feel like part of that is just because it's kind of more solid. The elements are a lot more deliberate. It's not really to the fault of Toy Story 2. It's more to the fault of its very troubled production and just how much of a rush they had to go through. That Toy Story 2 just felt like very cobbled together. Monsters Incorporated, like I said, is very free-flowing. Scenes make excessive sense together. Where you're going to have A plots and B plots, they merge together, much like the instruments of a jazz track. I'm going to keep using this jazz metaphor. You like jazz metaphors?
God damn it.
Now I'm going to take this to Kirby. Is this better than Toy Story 2?
As a whole, I think Monsters Inc. I liked a little bit more, but I'm very much the kind of person in which if the parts of the movie that I didn't think were that great weren't that bad, they were still good enough. And the parts that were really great were good enough, I take it over. And Toy Story 2, the scenes with Buzz and all of them still remain some of the funniest bits of movie I've ever seen. And the Woody stuff wasn't that bad. It wasn't really even bad. It was good enough. So for now, I'm going with Toy Story 2, but that might flip-flop, and don't expect it to stay the same by the time we get to our final rankings when we're done with whatever the last movie is.
From the sound of it, you two were not so sure on Toy Story 2 versus Monsters Inc. I wasn't so sure on Toy Story and Monsters Inc.
Well, you know my answer, since I already said I like Toy Story 2 more for now. So you know my answer.
Toy Story is still number one, I think.
Okay. When I started, my ranking was Toy Story, and then Monsters Inc., and then Toy Story 2. So we'll concede to that, and we'll work with that. And
you didn't even mention A Bug's Life.
Why would I want to mention A Bug's Life?
God, that movie sucked.
I can't believe A Bug's Life so quickly became our Cars 2.
It did.
Oh my god.
We're probably gonna like
I'm
Cars
worried.
more.
I'm worried Cars 2 isn't gonna be my least favorite anymore.
Yeah. No. Oh
No,
crap.
you two don't have to worry about that. I do.
So as of now, our ranking is from the bottom up is A Bug's Life, followed by
Worst.
Toy Story 2, then Monsters Incorporated, and at number 1 is Toy Story. Thank you very much for listening to this, and thank you too, because this was a huge blast.
Absolutely.
Of an episode.
It was.
Always a pleasure.
and next time is a certain Finding Nemo, which is going to be really interesting.
I thought you were
yeah.
gonna start building up to it, and I was gonna say Finding Lightning McQueen.
Finding Lightning McQueen, that's basically the plot of Cars 3.
Pretty much.
Bam!
All right, yeah. When we get to Cars 3, we gotta not call it Cars 3. Finding
Yeah.
Lightning.
Thank you very much for listening to this. I am The Watch.
I'm Random Bystander here.
Watch Water New Stubble Boost.
Thank you, and have a nice life.
Together we can show the world